Hi everyone, this is April Aries psychic reading. Let's have a look and see what we get. I thought we would try something new. I need glasses. Different type of reading. Well, different tools for getting the messages actually, to be more precise. I'm looking for some malachite in my little box because I don't think I have any in the big stones here. As by the way, happy birthday Aries, happy birthday to us. Hope you have a lovely one, a smashing time on your birthday, whether you're a March or an April Aries. So as I was saying, I thought we would try something new this time, different type of tools, because we are adventurous and we like new things. We are pioneers, and there you go. Let's see how this pans out for us, what the messages would be. I have pulled a card from the crystal deck. Is the malachite card, and what I'm more drawn towards obviously is the divinatory meaning, and it says, drawing this card indicates a need to break with old patterns and embrace change. It particularly asks us to take responsibility for transforming our lives. Well, how applicable to us Aries, because if we are being honest, we all know that things are changing and we have to change, we have to break old patterns. It doesn't apply actually just to Aries, it applies to everyone. We all have to break patterns and shake off old habits that don't serve us right anymore, relationships that don't serve us right anymore, that were not meant for us to carry forever, and we have fulfilled our purpose with them by this point. And in respect of love, so this obviously for Aries and for Aries lovers, for those in love with Aries people, but also bearing in mind the foundation energy of this reading is about transforming our love relationships by transforming our personality and our behavior. Aries are prone to anger, to frustration, outbursts, and the list can continue when it comes to the fiery temperamental Aries. But we also have to graduate spiritually, and we have to learn, control the behavior that causes problems to us and to our relationships. On the positive side, we are, or the vast majority, obviously as always this won't apply to everyone, won't resonate with everyone, because it really depends very much on everyone's birth chart and what other influences they have on their birth chart. Depends on age, depends on cultural background, upbringing, so many factors come into play obviously. But generally speaking, strong Aries energies will be able to identify with a lot of what is coming through, a lot of the messages that are coming through in the reading. And I believe also that those in love with Aries will see it better because they watch from the outside, so it's easier for them to understand and recognize these things. On the bright side, Aries are loyal and faithful to the right people. They just have to make sure they don't barge in and get into the wrong relationships. very important for everyone to be careful what relationships they decide to go into, because it's so easy to get with someone and it's so difficult to be with someone and to make it work and to make it last. And this applies to anyone, every individual, regardless of star sign. So on the bright side, as I was saying, not only Aries are faithful and loyal to the right people, or to people who they let into their life on a deeper level, but they are also at this point committed to changing the patterns in their behavior, or they realize they have to commit properly to changing their behavior and becoming the better, reaching their potential and becoming the better version of themselves. And that, by doing that, their life and love life will benefit. You don't have to worry about your love life as long as you do everything you can to become the partner that you want in your life. So before expecting anyone else to be perfect for you, make sure you are perfect for them. Again, this applies to everyone else, not just to Aries people. However, relative to Aries, your love life is changing for the better. You can achieve that ideal relationship that you're looking for and that you hoped for. I love this deck, by the way. This is so old and is one of my first decks. I think I was about 12, 13 years old when I bought this gypsy deck somewhere in Transylvania. And now I'm so many more years old. Oh God, where does the time go? Anyway, speaking of love life for Aries, one other really nice card that I got for you, for us, is trust. Trust this situation is calling for you to have faith. I love this. And I love this not just because I love Doreen Virtue's decks, and I'm not going into the criticism or controversy going around Doreen Virtue and her work at the moment. But I can tell you, as someone who's known herself as a psychic forever and longer, since I was able to become aware of what is going on around me and the world around me, I've always knew and known that I'm different and I'm psychic and I have this gift, and I've been reading since I was 8, obviously not professionally until 8, because first I've been a lawyer, for example, if we talk profession. But as someone aware of their gift and doing readings for such a long time, for a lifetime, and professionally for many years now, over a decade, I can tell you guys that if you manage to find within yourself the patience and the wisdom to stop worrying so much, to be positive, to control your lack of patience and your frustration and outbursts, and just have faith that things will work out for you, they will. Readings are good. Readings are helpful when things have to be determined quickly. But when we have a situation, a deadline, they are helpful, definitely. But individually, on a more personal level, I can tell you that myself, all my main life decisions, the most important life decisions that I make are not based on readings, not even my own readings. I pray and I wait for the guidance, for the answers to be revealed to me. So trust whatever you're going through, and I know things have not been easy for pretty much everyone. For Aries as well, I had an awful year last year, very hurtful. I lost people. It's been really difficult to go through. But regardless of what happened, I never ever lost sight of my faith, strong faith, and the fact that God has always revealed to me the reasons behind everything. You can get to that point as well. It takes practice and strong will, but you can get to that point as well. So my point exactly is, regardless of how hard life is, if you understand and try to understand first why everything happens, it will make sense eventually to you, and you won't feel a victim of circumstances anymore. Even more so, if you start controlling your behavior and create your future as you want it, rather than waiting for things to happen to you. Because that's why we are victims of circumstances, because we are not able to control our thinking, our mind. That takes a lot of hard work for everyone, not just for Aries. Perhaps for others more than us, because although we are fiery, we still can, unless there are other aspects on the birth chart, we still can manage our mind quite well, because we are more action people than thinkers, as we know. No, okay, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I do think, for instance, myself, I said in other readings, I have Mars in Gemini, I have Mercury in Aries, so I think sometimes perhaps I speak too quickly, too much, maybe as well. Actually, that being said, you have to appreciate that although with all those placements that I have mentioned, and considering we have Mercury retrograde in my star sign, in our star sign, in Aries, and I haven't swore, and I haven't given a mouthful and all that kind of stuff that we tend to do. Yeah, so see, it's all down to how you manage to trust life and find your anchor, as the rock says. I like that expression. It's about grounding yourself practically and have strong faith, and you will manage to sail through life. You will manage to get through to the other end. You will make it. You're fighters, you're go-getters, you're action people. So that's what I meant, not that we are not thinkers, because we do think a lot as well, but we do not get too stuck in our head, and if we do something about it. We just don't sit there dwelling on things, which is good. The only problem that I would say is massive for Aries, especially those who are perhaps younger or not very grounded or not spiritually connected to something, a practice or a person that could guide them. This is the main issue, and this is what they need to work on. And if they master that, if they manage to control their thinking and master their emotions, they will just fly, and sky's the limit for Aries. I will try and see if I can get, because I always like to ask if there is any specific message for those in love with Aries, or perhaps even for Aries themselves. But I'm quite excited with how the reading goes. So it's about transformation. Again, this applies to every star sign. I believe we are at that stage individually and globally. The whole world needs to change and shift and transcend and graduate to the next level. And relationship wise, things look very promising. You are advised to have faith and trust, and those who work with me know that I always say that, and they have seen over time that no, I was right, but this is how it works. So please find something, find a way of grounding yourself, find your anchor, practices that help you get through them. Oops, cards are quite slippery new as well. And control yourselves. I believe the anger issue would mainly refer to men, I have to say that. And the loyalty and faithfulness, as well as warning for men, both in relationships with others and themselves, how they commit to transforming themselves and their lives and their relationships. But I will see what else I get. We got a jumper, long distance. We got another jumper, money, and another jumper, and another jumper, and communication. Okay, so there is communication that Aries are waiting for. For some is long distance communication, I would say, and also evening time communication. They are waiting, some of them, and I would say men, are waiting for things to improve in respect of finances, mainly. I also believe this applies to women as well. It takes me back to men. Sorry, is the way that messages come. It makes me jump from one thing to another, but it's how it comes to me. I have to give it the same way, guys. But your Aries, you don't mind. You're quick as well, so that's not going to be a problem for you. I know that. So back to men, or maybe this applies to both men and women. Relationship wise, some of them are becoming parents. So when it comes to love life and relationship, some Aries will become parents. They have that energy of being able to become parents. There is also the energy of full proper commitment in relationships. It might be unconventional kind of situation where Aries become parents, but they are not married, because this is upside down. But that's again not a problem for Aries. As I said, we are adventurous, unconventional pioneers, so that's not really a problem. I would like to see what that anger issue and frustration and I know we are fiery, obviously, especially me, with also Leo rising. But thank Lord for the moon Capricorn. Right. Celebration coming up when it comes to love. Of course, we have our birthdays or just had our birthdays. There is celebration, there is love. So it's not just about birthdays and Easter, for example, which is another reason for celebrating, but it's about love. So there is celebration in love. It's still not telling me about the anger, which I would like to clarify. So what is it about personality that Aries need to know? Yes, they need to graduate, they need to grow up. Proper grow up when it comes to behavior. And this applies to men because he got the Jack. Mainly. I'm not saying there aren't women out there, perhaps young in age. And also remember, this applies to people who are young souls as well, haven't been reincarnated that many times. Please, if you are an Aries or if you are somebody in love with an Aries, try to plant that seed. This is the time. The energy is really supportive for Aries to change their behavior and graduate. And doing that, your love life and life overall improves dramatically. Also, be mindful of the fact that some of you can become parents. So you can't afford to be childish, immature, to behave childish and immature. Men, I keep getting men, keeps coming to me mainly. Of course, as I said, some girls, women out there as well, but men in particular tend to go by reaction rather than pausing, thinking and acting. Let's see if there is anything else when it says to when it comes to trust. What is it that we need to know about trusting? Okay, I feel that the relationship for Aries who are in a relationship, again I get arguments, controversy, disagreements. So whatever you've been through in your relationship, you have to change that, as I was saying at the beginning, foundation of the reading. We have to transform that kind of energy and raise vibration, because relationships, especially the last relationship, has been affected by misunderstandings, bad communication, lack of communication, arguments, disagreements. If you're not in a relationship, it's taking me back to changing your behavior, because you can't be in a long-lasting relationship if you don't manage to behave in a way that can be bearable. If you are an angry person who can't control their temper, who do you think is going to want to be with you? Who do you think wants to stay with you? Even if somebody gets, as I said earlier, it's not about getting together, it's about living together, it's about making it work. So very important message and repetitive message for Aries energy. And again, I say it in every reading, and the vast majority of you do come across these readings because you're looking for them, so you are accustomed with psychic readings or tarot readings. And you know, where was I going with that? I just got stopped on my tracks, my train of thought. Repetitive message for Aries is, yes, what I was saying is the vast majority of you know that you must go by your rising sign, moon sign, Venus sign as well, not just by your star sign. So ideally you should know at least another one of those to help you get more clarity. Ideally also, whoever comes across my readings would, and my channel, would go and read the about section and will know that I offer a 10 minutes free trial for the private readings, so you can make your mind up before buying. So you don't have to buy right away. You can contact me, we schedule a time. I offer you some free minutes for you to see whether you are happy with the connection we have, because obviously I always say it, a general reading can be as specific as a general reading can be, and it hurts me because I like general stuff. I don't like when I go to a general reading and I'm being told there are lies or confusion, and they may lie to you or you may lie to them well, or hide things, but it can be either of you. That's not good for me, because sometimes you don't get the chance to say things and creates confusion. And for instance, the moon can come up at that point and you're thinking, well, I didn't get the chance to have that conversation, so obviously it would come up as hiding things or confusing for them. But then I want to know what sort of hiding and confusion comes my way from their side. That bugs me big style. So I try to avoid that as much as possible and be specific in the sense of not confusing you, whether it's your partner or you who does this or that, or three-party situations and all sorts. There are all sorts of three-party situations. I'm now going a little bit off track, but again, I know Aries are okay with that, and you will get me because, again, frustration, speaking about anger and frustration, that frustrates me. See how the energy is so accurate and the messages are so accurate. It's unbelievable how the spirit works. I was just talking about transforming our personality, our behavior, and frustration and anger being, and temper being the main issue for Aries, and then I end up winding myself up and getting frustrated. It's unbelievable. Anyway, I was saying about confusion in the general readings when they say three-party situations. Well, these three-party situations sometimes can be absolutely genuine when there is no emotion or sex involved, but somebody can have a very close friend, or somebody can be tied up in a situation due to finances or other obligations or health problems. That can be a third-party situation. But then, obviously, there are the other three-party situations. So, ideally, you should know. I understand that, obviously, people, if they really want clarification, should go for private readings. But to be fair, I would rather not have that thing, where the confusion comes in, and you get that seed planted, and you really have to be very strong in the mind. And it's okay for me, and probably for many of you, because as I said, even if you don't manage, I managed to sort it out myself, obviously, because of my gift, because of my faith. And if nothing works, I meditate, I pray, whatever. So I managed to sort it out. You other Aries probably will take action of some sort as well, whether you can do it on your own or with the help of somebody. You are action taker, so you're not gonna just sit there, do nothing. But there are people out there who don't have that pull or drive, and planting a seed in their mind is really a high responsibility for every reader and psychic out there. So we should be very careful with what we say and how we say to people, because people go for readings generally when they are in a crossroad, or in a bad situation, or have to make an important decision, or feel vulnerable for whatever reason. Rarely people go for general readings if they want to make a business decision. Of course, I have loads of clients because I do mentoring as well, and I have loads of clients with whom I work on business issues, on investment, partnerships, business partnerships. But those people don't go for the general readings. They come to me for proper, to the point, personal readings, or we do mentoring if we want to develop something and make decisions. But the vast majority goes for general readings, and they end up with a seed planted, and their mind just goes off in one. Anyway, back to, this is going to be long. Oh god, half an hour. Okay, sorry for the rant. If anything, speaking of that, if anything that you can take as a lesson from it is how you want to change your ways. If you don't agree with me ranting, for instance, that is a trigger for you. That is something for you to learn from and not do it yourself. And this is obviously harmless because you can skip through, and it's all about giving out examples and good teachings and good advice. But obviously, if it applies on a different level to individual Aries, and it's not just a rant, it goes too far and it turns from frustration into anger, then we are talking about a completely different situation. So for those in love with Aries, other than the fact that you know what they need to do, you know what they are going through, let's see for you, the person who cross watches, if there is one specific message. Communication should improve. Try to communicate to your Aries lover. Perhaps not about specific subjects, as in your relationship or the potential of your relationship, but try to have good communication, speak nicely, get them at a time when they are in a good place mentally and emotionally, and you can talk to them. Don't lecture them, just try to get out information from them. And I don't mean this in a bad way. What I'm trying to say actually is be the listener. So initiate communication, but you try to speak less and be the listener, so you get to understand what is going on with them. Because as I said, as an Aries, things have been horrific in the last year, 2017. So their behavior, although perhaps doesn't have excuses, has some reasons behind it. And if you listen to them and you get to know them and to understand them, then you can make a decision about the potential of your relationship and of your future. Then you can also decide whether there is hope or not. Hope this is going to help you guys. Again, happy birthday to all my Aries out there. And until I see you next time, be happy, be loved.